Hey, what's up, Groovy Nights? It's Bree, aka Nerdy. I know, I don't have my glasses on. I know. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Anyway, hey, what's up, guys? So today's, I'm kind of retouching back on Me, Myself, and I Mondays. I took like a little break from it, and the reason why is because I had to think about it a little bit more. I had to come up with some different content. Essentially, I've been thinking of advancing the story, but not really the story, but how I want the panel layouts to go. So I already have like 7 pages done. The comic originally from what it was the ones I showed in the past. You guys have seen those. But recently I've been thinking I might want to change it up. So since the story is Me, Myself, and I, and it evolves around 3 people, in my brain, I don't know why, but I've been thinking about making it like a first-person view story, if that makes sense. They're like very immersive, right? And I don't know why, but in my brain, I feel like I could pull this off that story out, pull this off with this story. I just have to figure out how to like go about it. So essentially, you know, you'd have what a first-person view. Like, let's imagine a first-person view game, but as a comic. So you would see everything that you normally see out of your eyes, you know, your 180-degree view, and then you would have the character, you'd be the character, you know, you'd be the person seeing it, and then the characters will be interacting with you as yourself. Well, I know you're like, that sounds weird, but the reason why I think it will work so well is because DeAndre is able to see versions, 2 different versions of himself, no matter what phase of it is he's in. Be able to see his younger self and his timeline, telling him, hey, look at this, you know, this is what's going on, or vice versa. They're in the middle-aged one, and the middle-aged one's now a detective, well, junior detective, and he's going to these crime scenes, and he's looking around, and then the older one will be walking through the watcher role, so he'd be able to stroll through the world, and the camera would, or the camera, but the panel would like look like as if it was following him. I don't know, I feel like it could be very interesting. It'll be fun to read because it'll immerse you guys in the footage itself, if that makes sense. And the reason why I was getting it is because, you know, I play first-person shooter games, and I also love third-person over-the-shoulder games. And that was kind of my option. I was trying to see if I wanted to draw in a style like the old traditional style of comic, or do something new and brave and do it in first-person view, or even third-person view. Because I feel like going over the shoulder, you know, that would be kind of cool. Just because I've never seen it done like that. I've never seen a comic done fully in that genre or in that style. It'll be very stylized, and it'll be something very unique for myself. And I think it will work for the story because you're telling a detective story. And all these stories that you usually play as a video game, you're either third person or you're first person, and it's making you play it. It's making you do that. So as a reader, you'd be reading this. You'd be experiencing what the person's experiencing firsthand. And, you know all these little sub things. Now, of course, there's going to be moments when you're not DeAndre that I would flip it to the old traditional style comic, and it'll be like sub things that are happening. Like when his wife is talking to their kids, or when his mom's talking to her boyfriend at the time, or when his girlfriend, who's going to become his wife later on in the future, is talking to his best friend, who becomes somebody else in the future. You know, these are just some of the options that I was trying to have with this, and I was trying to understand and trying to figure out, because I feel if you're going to make a comic, and if you're going to be bold enough to do it, I feel that you have to do it bold. You know, I already understand how hard it is to draw a comic. I understand that. But to make a statement as a comic book creator, I think that's one hell of a way to make a statement, you know? But also, what I wanted to share with you guys, what I wrote so far. So this is just DeAndre's bio. If you guys would want to listen, you can listen. If not, you know, it's okay. So, DeAndre, the hero of the story. As a kid, DeAndre was a smart and nice kid. He was always known for how to get a laugh out of anyone and like to daydream. And the night that DeAndre, or D as I wrote, and his sister were kidnapped, DeAndre was messed up, and he lost that sense of cool and wonder under pressure that he never had before. And I don't know why I wrote it like that, but essentially he lost that innocence, right? You know, when you go through something traumatic like that, you're going to lose some quality of yourself. In that sense, he lost his quality of being kind of fun and laughing, and he became really distant and withdrawn. And this sets the tone for the rest of the story because you understand how he grew up to be where he was before he was able to get connected to all himself. So he grew up kind of cold distant, that he became a detective because he wanted to make up for not being able to save his sister in the past. And then, you know, he eventually meets his girlfriend at that time in college, and then he progresses later on in life, and he's now 60, 50, I don't know how old he is. I know the age, but I'm not saying it. However old he is, and his kids are growing up. He's gonna go through a rough patch, and he's, you know, this moment in his life is so traumatic that it's messing with the rest of his life. It's kind of old, distant, you know, very cynical, older man, and it all started when he was younger. So essentially, now that he's able to communicate with himself, I'm going to change it where he's actually able to grow. He's going to grow as a character because this older one's going to realize, man, if I would have just done some of these things different. Because that's what we realize. That's what we realize when we get older. We're like, man, if I could go back and tell myself this in the past, I would be so better. I'll do this differently. I'll do this differently. But at the same time, there's consequences. You know, I'm not doing that whole ripple effect. Like, you know, I had this bottle. Oh, come on, that bottle has water in it. So I had this bottle in this timeline, and I don't knock it over, right? And then in the future, I'm like, hey, you know what? Fuck that bottle. Flip the bottle over, and I knock it over, and then the next day something catastrophic happens. You know, Trump's president, which I really hope that doesn't work out. But you know, something really crazy happens. That doesn't happen in my story. In my story, if he kisses a girl, you know, in this one, very minute things change, not really drastic things. It doesn't ripple the whole way into time. It only ripples, it's a small ripple, you know. I was just saying, like, it'll have to be something super, super major like that for that to happen in order for the story to just alter everything else around him. But I don't do that whole butterfly effect crap, and every time something changes, it's too much. You get lost in the story. It takes away from the story to me. You know, writers like to do that stuff because they think it's fun and intricate to, like, weave this and this together. No. I feel like the new age of time travel or time manipulation comics or books should be like, it only affects a small change, because those subtle changes, those are what makes the story like, oh man, this because he did this, now this thing's kind of changed, or oh, he remembers this because this happened, or he's gained this knowledge because of this. You know, these little things, those are what makes the story great. After 3 days of torture and abuse, he's already been kidnapped with his sister. They've been tortured for 3 days. He was able to get set free. Actually, his sister helped him escape. Right? During the escape, the window was too small for his sister to get out. That's why she ended up having to stay behind. She was able to kill him, getting killed by the person. The person, I nicknamed the Creeper just for holding space, but his name's gonna be something different. And after this, you know, it really messes him up. So, like I just said just before. Now, what's interesting about this is they're all visiting the graveyard where their sister is buried, right? And at that moment when they're all there, just somehow conveniently, through the mystic cosmos of what a comic is, they're all standing in the exact same place, around the exact same time. I say around the exact same time because I'm going to play with that. And they get hit with this lightning. Now, in my theory, the world has already been around for forever. And the way the fourth dimension works is, nature has already accessed it. We just haven't accessed it, you know, as people, right? So, you know, the world's been around for millions of years. History, and to me, like, you gotta think, lightning's probably hit that one spot thousands of times. Now, what is the convenience of it happening to hit this one spot in time in 3 different timelines, 3 different areas of time, and then because it hit at the exact same time, with all of them in the same contact, and it all be the same person, because it does that, that's what gives him the access, that's what gives him the ability to access the fourth dimension, and pretty much transitions him into a higher plane of existence. That's how DeAndre's bio starts off with. That's the little bit of taste I'm going to give you for what DeAndre is. Now, for Leo Chun, who is the villain of the story, because if you watch my older videos, I always tell you, you have to have as much passion for the villain as you do the hero story. Leo's father is part of this group. I want to say of assassins, but I really want to call them assassins because there's something a little bit different. And since a young age, Leo's trained to kill. Except Leo got a little too into it, and at one point it made him pretty sloppy later on in life. So his transition of time is he's already been trained to kill when he was younger. You know, he was coming up in this world and that habit. But he wasn't good at it. He wasn't as good an assassin. You know, he just grew up and he was okay. He was like an average assassin. He wasn't like the top of the best, but he could kill people. He was very efficient in his own right at it, but he wasn't like the creme de la creme. He would go on to become a mass serial killer, racking up like 52 murders that could be traced back to him. I don't know why. What YD? What is that? Okay. Oh, YD. While DeAndre was assigned to his cold cases because he's done this 52 times, so no one could ever catch him. He was the only detective to come close to solving the murders of who actually was the person that was murdering at this time. While visiting an old prayer ground he went to as a kid, so like I said, he's traditional. Obviously, he's Asian because I don't think there's any badass Asian villains. I don't know why, but while he's visiting this old prayer ground back in his place, and I told you they all have to be in a similar place and location. This is just how this works because it's set in time. Now, just listen. He gets essentially struck by lightning as well. Now, the only difference is the villain's gonna have his powers way before DeAndre. And DeAndre gets his powers. We can pick off where DeAndre gets his powers. But for the backstory of the villain, that's the backstory of the villain. The villain already has his powers. But this is how he got his powers. Well, while he was visiting this location, he gets struck by lightning, and it's 3 different selves. However, this is the twist. The younger self, Leo, right around that time, he has an accident and he loses his memories. And the older two convince him that he is deaf himself, and that he has an ability, that this ability that was given to him to be able to talk to his different selves in life and do this other thing where it's kind of resistance through time, because I just kind of told you a little part of the story, is because he is deaf. Deaf is able to transcend time and death, right? That's what death is. And that's why he has this ability. So, because he thinks that, and because his timeline's already happened, anything that happens to the younger self, as long as something happens to him, because he's the anchor point, because he's the earliest state of the ascension into the power, everything after him gets affected. So he gets there's this thing that they do, it's called a memory surge. And so essentially all the memories of how to do something, they can surge it from one timeline, so from the very end to beginning, but it has a ripple. And then it quadruples. So it doubles and it quadruples in a knowledge base that they have. So it makes these people that are able to do this, like, just supreme in their time. That's the creme de la creme. So he goes from being like an average kind of sloppy assassin, I only have 52 kills, to losing his memories, thinking that he is deaf. Because when you lose a memory, if you were to wake up out of a coma and someone tell you that, hey, you are a ex Navy SEAL, you would walk differently, you would talk differently. So if this guy tells you that you're deaf and that no one can kill you, you act differently from that point on, and it actually affects everything else. Now, the other two still have the memories of what really happened. But because he's did these subtle changes, now they start to change themselves. They're stronger, they're faster, they're more. They wake up the next couple of days. Well, how the story rests is every time they wake up, they get a little bit better. And it's all because it started in the very beginning. So that's how that part of the story works. And that's the cool part about the stories. And that's what I'm going to explore very much so with it. These abilities of time. Like, everybody's so wrapped in time where, you stop it, or you jump back in time, you change some stuff, and you do this. And they're missing so much great opportunity of what you could really do with the ability to control time. But I told you all this because I want you to know about the story. I want you to get a little bit more excited about it, because about to graduate school here in a little bit, and so I can actually have a little bit freer time to work on it, because Full Sail's crazy. I'll show you guys what I'm doing in the background. You can see that's when I've been working on, and it's only like 3 seconds long, but it is a lot of work, a lot of work, because I gotta make everything myself. But all right, enough of all that. All right, guys, so I hope you like what you see. Thanks for hanging out with me once again and tuning in with your nerdy friend. If you're new to the show and you like it, hit the red button. I will be doing a new version of Lane Sauce Dope Sauce this week. I'm just scouring through a little bit more pictures on DeviantArt, trying to find some better better references for you guys to give you some more quality tips and also help people out. If you send me some artwork on Twitter, link it in the description down below, whatever you want. Actually not in the description, in the comments down below. And yeah, alright. So, as always, people, stay true to yourself, love what you do, and above all, stay nerdy, people. I love you. Have a great night.